Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. All right, then. So we're back from the news, and it's time for us to connect with you. We can tell you most of the areas we're covering are still looking good in some areas, but not completely in some others. Still having some slow movement around the construction corridor. That's if you're coming in from Ojota heading towards Maryland. Do not forget, we have construction work at that place. Heading towards the Third Mainland Bridge, you have it slow. By the time you approach the interchange at Ojota, proceeding through Chinatown and Alakbere, nothing unusual. Pedestrian crossing around that location might be responsible. Beyond that point, it gets much better. All through the Third Mainland Bridge, meet some slowness by Adekunle towards Adeniji, but no major worries. All right, then. So on this first segment of the program, let's talk a bit about what the Lagos State government is doing, especially as they seek to tackle the rising, the inflation of food in Lagos. All right, so we're seeing how best to tackle food inflation in Lagos, the Ounje Eko Remedy. And joining me on the phone line this morning, I have the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture. She'll be taking us through this discourse in a very, very short while. I'm talking about Honorable Bisola Olusanya. It's nice to have you join us, madam. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. So let's reflect on this latest round of the Ounje Eko. Has it kicked off yet?
Oh, yes, it has. We kicked off on the 1st of September.
And how is it going so far?
I think so far so good. It's been fine. I think people have been very receptive towards the idea, and you see collaboration from all and sundry around the success of the project.
Right, which is good. Now, but for those who do not really understand the reason of this kind of idea, some are wondering why is Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu coming up with the Ounje Eko initiative. Just take us through what this is all about.
Yeah, so back in February of this year, he had had a kind of a media briefing. That was the Sanwo-Olu Speaks, where he had mentioned some of the initiatives for the citizenry around managing and coping with the high inflation that we are all experiencing.
Right.
He had mentioned initiatives around transportation, around education, and he had also mentioned initiatives around food. And for the food, the Ounje Eko discount market was one of those initiatives where it was to give us the 25% discount on specific food items that are considered as staples in most homes. We had rolled out that from 17th of March. That was the phase one.
Okay.
And we had done that for up to, I think, up until June, thereabout. And then because of the feedback he had received around the success of the initiative and how impactful it was, and also considering that people saw it as a very fair and unbiased initiative, a lot of people had asked for the return of Ounje Eko, and also considering the inflationary figures are still quite high.
Right.
So he had mandated that we roll out phase two, which we started 1st of September.
All right. So we can tag this Ounje Eko 2.0, is it?
Yes.
All right. So for the first season that it actually ran, do we have statistics to show how many people were beneficiaries?
Yes, for phase one, because we had specific quantity of food items per location per week, we could estimate that at least a minimum of about 250,000 families. That means a family is represented by someone coming in to buy. For that time frame, we were able to reach that many number of people. Also considering the fact that we had run the initiative also in the Alausa Secretariat, as well as the Lagos State Mushin Fresh Food Hub, which we ran for 12 weeks. And even prior to the 25% announcement, we had been given a 10% discount as early as February, before even Mr. Governor further announced a 25% discount. So we estimated, based on our sales, that at least 250,000 families were reached. I know 250,000 is a round figure, but that is approximating what we were able to sell across board.
All right, so let's talk about the places where Ounje Eko can be found. So, how many places in Lagos?
For this phase two, Ounje Eko is in 64, or it's taking place across 64 locations. So you have the 57 local governments and LCDAs. You also have an additional location at Lekki phase one, making 58. You have the Mushin Fresh Food Hub, 59.
Right.
You have the Alausa Secretariat,
60.
making 60. Then you have LASUS, that's the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. You have LASU, that's the Lagos State University. You have University of Lagos.
Okay.
You have LASUED, that is Lagos State University of Education.
Right.
And you also have LASUS Tech in Odogoyan and Ikorodu, which is the Lagos State University of Science and Technology.
All right.
So I'm not even sure whether it's 64 or 65 now, but those are the numbers.
Right.
And this week itself also, I was at Ajegole on Sunday, and looking at the population density in that area, we also felt that it would be critical to give Ajegole as an area one more location. So we're adding another location this week to Ajegole.
Right. So these areas across Lagos, this is across the 5 divisions from what you have mentioned now. But the food items that you sell, let's reflect to that. What are the items that are on offer?
So we have rice, beans, gari, tomato, pepper, atarodo, tatashe, onions, eggs, and bread.
Okay. So all these ones are there, and they are sold in lesser quantities.
Hello?
I said, and they are sold in lesser prices, right?
Yes, discounted 25%.
All right. Let's just take a look at these areas now and how people can what they're supposed to do at every point in time when you get to an Ounje Eko center. What are the things that an individual can buy? Because I hear there's certain restrictions. Sometimes you want to buy this, they will say no, you cannot buy this one. Is that so?
No, the restriction is on the quantity you can buy. So any one person going into any location can buy only a maximum of 5 kilo rice, a maximum of 5 kilo beans, 5 kilo gari, 2 loaves of bread, 2 crates of eggs, 2 kilos of tomatoes, 1 kilo of atarodo, 1 kilo of tatashe, 1 kilo of rodo, 1 kilo of onions. That is the restriction we have. So you can't come in wanting to buy 10 kilos of rice. If not, you'll be denying someone else the opportunity to buy.
Right.
So it's more or less like a rationing.
Right. So for the rice, it's 5 kilos.
Yes, please.
So how much is a 5 kilo bag of rice?
So depending on the location, we don't have uniform pricing because we had done that in phase one at the very beginning, and we realized that in some locations we were shortchanging people by trying to sell at a price which was considered higher than what the locality found to be so. So we decided to go by local pricing. So we have a rule for getting vendors locally, meaning in any area where you belong and where there's an Ounje Eko, the vendor has to be from that locality. So on average, a 5 kilo bag of rice will roughly be around 7,200, 300, in some locations as high as 7,500.
Right.
So by the time you give the discount on that, it's coming to, I think, roughly about 5,000 plus.
Right. And I'm just curious, how will you be able to monitor that? I mean, the chances are that you might get to some places and such figures get highly inflated. So how will your ministry be able to monitor that?
No, so if you see higher than normal prices, number one, people won't buy. And even if people were to buy because, let's say, the 25% discount applies and the price appears to be lower than what they'll still have in the market, that would generally not happen because at the end of the day, we are working with local volunteers. We are working with the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Lagos chapter. We have a minimum of 4 of them. We're working with the local government officials. That is the head of department, Agri, and the Agri supervisor. They're also working and collaborating closely with the CDC, CDA chairman in each of the local governments and LCDAs. So, and then the market mistress and Iyoloja also, they help to furnish us with local market men and women. So across board, it's difficult to find figures that will be higher than the regular market. Aside that, before the market day, our team members, which is constituted of 15 people, they enter into the market as well, just to be able to get the pricing to be sure that what they have been offered by the vendor is accurate. So by and large, you will not come across places where you would have higher than normal figures.
All right. There's some reactions coming in here for you, Honorable Commissioner. This one says, good morning, Honorable Commissioner. What are the key factors driving up the cost of food in urban areas like Lagos? Soji is sending that one in.
Okay. Well, I think key factors would be logistics, the infrastructure also around that. Also, depending on the intricacies around supply and demand, the cost of food will go up, cost of production. So if you're talking about electricity, that would also be a factor. Labor costs, fuel costs, every and anything that you can think of is a factor towards driving up the food prices.
Right.
But more importantly, it has to do with the linkages between production and the market at the end of the day. So when you don't have a proper mechanism or framework around how food supply and demand is configured, you definitely have issues where middlemen are putting higher than regular margins on the food products, and the average consumer has to pay the price for it.
All right. This one says, good morning, Traffic Radio. How does the initiative ensure food availability in hard-to-reach areas of Lagos? I think you attended to that earlier on. This one says, good morning, Victor and Honorable Commissioner. Are there any policies in the pipeline aimed at making Lagos more food resilient? Thanks. B from Ogbai, sending that one in. So I think you've been speaking about that. But yes, go ahead.
Yes, we actually do have a food policy. It's actually been in the works with the department, with the Ministry of Justice and the Law Reform Commission. And the idea is particularly around enhancing and giving a holistic view to how food is produced in Lagos and also brought into Lagos. So that will be revealed maybe in the next coming months. But that has always been in the works in the last couple of years. And we had reputable consulting firms work with us on putting this policy together.
Right. Okay, then. So even as we round this off now, Honorable Commissioner, what's the message to our people as it relates to this Ounje Eko round that we are right now? How can they go about it? And when are the days that Ounje Eko comes on stream?
Okay, so I'll start with the days. Across the local government and LCDAs, that is on Sundays. If you visit social media handles, just go to Ounje_Eko Lagos. You'll find the details of the respective locations for each LGA, LCDA. For the tertiary institutions as well as the Alausa Secretariat, that takes place on Fridays. And for the Motion Fresh Food Hub, that takes place on Wednesdays and Fridays and Saturdays, sorry.
Okay.
So if I repeat it, that is on Sundays, tertiary institutions and Alausa Secretariat is Friday, and the Motion Fresh Food Hub is Wednesday and Saturday. And you can visit the social media handles Ounje_Eko Lagos for all of the details pertaining to the initiative.
All right, then. We really want to thank you for connecting with us this morning. We're hoping to have you in the studios very, very soon. And then you can talk broader on policy issues that relates to agriculture in Lagos. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
All right. So I've been speaking with the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture in Lagos, Honorable Bisola Olusanya. And I must say a big thank you to Nike Shodikbo, who is, of course, the Director of Public Affairs for that ministry. She's been working tirelessly for us to have this conversation this morning. A brief break. When we return, we'll do birthdays before we switch gears to talk insurance on the program this morning.
Hello.